Okay, so we just got started, right? So we're here at the Calvary. What's the full name?
The name is Calvary Baptist Church out here in McAllen, down on Bicentennial and Harvey.
Yeah, we're just outside. We just finished from what was the? I'm so bad with this stuff. It was the we prayer group or no?
So
Bible study.
Yes, it was a small Bible group which we call ABF, which stands for Adult Bible Fellowship, and I'm with the Peacemakers. By the way, my name is Eddie Govea.
Yeah, Eddie Govea.
And I just I met Alex back in February when I was struggling to do my calculus homework, and he just came in and whizzed on by, right, dude? You remember when you were there and I was trying to figure out something about midpoints and endpoints, and you're like, oh yeah, the TA84 does this and that, and I was like, man, I was totally stumped. So
yeah, I think you were doing calculus differential or an integral, and you were looking. So I was telling you how you could input the values into the calculator.
Yeah,
and then you were like, what's up? And then you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, it's giving the answer. So and then we started talking, and then.
And so we are here today,
Yeah, and then after the Bible study, we had the sermon, right? Is that what it's called?
Yes. So it's basically the sermon or the service, and here at Calvary, they have 3 services: the classical services or traditional services at 9:30, contemporary, which is the one we just went to right now at 11, and then the Spanish services at 12:30.
Yeah. But it was really good today's message, right? So they went to India, and then the pastor was mentioning how he was interviewing 40 people in total, and how devoted to God they were. How devoted they were, and they didn't know a lot about Jesus, right? So they just know that he died, he was reborn, and that he saved them, right? But even with that, the pastor was saying how that's enough, and then he referenced a section in Mark's about that, and he covered that. But then there was another gentleman from Kenya, and then he was saying how the church went over there and helped them to build a well, and how much they have helped them. I think 150,000 people that have gotten water, and it was just wonderful. And I thought the singing was really good. I felt like everybody was singing pretty good, harmonized and everything. So I think it was awesome.
I definitely agree. It's one of those things that. With church, it's more so than just the building. It's more so than just just going and meeting. Yes, we definitely gather, but it's fellowshipping with one another, and it's basically building upon the relationship that we have with Jesus Christ. And the message today with Pastor Chad it's simply amazing that his main message or the message here at Calvary is to go out and make disciples of the world, and they basically take that from the Matthew 28 verses 18 through 20, which basically just states that Jesus has given us all the authority to go out and baptize the nations in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he went out on a missions trip out to India, and these people who know very little of Jesus, they had miracles happen in their lives, such as healings or casting of demons away from them, when their Hindu gods cannot remove those demons from themselves. So just with the power in the name of Jesus Christ was able to save them. And from there, obviously with the miracle, they came and now they're with Jesus Christ, and they're sharing with the little that they know. They share, and then they worship on average about 2 hours a day. And one of the big things that the Pastor Chad was saying, that here usually the church is maybe not just Pastor Chad, but there's a sentiment that the church has fallen asleep, and that people just come to be a part of just something to do, or I guess just be a part of another label, or just kind of like a club or something. But they don't really become active. They don't really exercise their faith and the sense of going out and doing what Jesus called us to do, which is to go out and make disciple makers. And here we are, people who do read their Bibles, or people who do make an effort to pray and go to church and do all these things, but yet they don't go out and simply do. They just come in to get fed with the word, or they just come to to show up, maybe just to show face. And here on the mission trip, there was Indian people who know very little about Jesus get saved, and all they know that Jesus heals and that he's God, and they go out and they share the gospel, and it's like, wow, just the simplicity of it. And over here we make things more complex, and trying to get into theology and doctrine and denomination, and it's just like, no, like Jesus calls us to be simple as children, and to go about it, to be childlike, and just to go out and do exactly as he says. We can't simply do anything unless we abide or obey in Jesus Christ. And so that's what basically what it was, today in today's message. And just to expound on that just a bit is, a lot of people feel that, with Christians nowadays, or not just Christians, but I guess religion in general, that people just bunch it all up together in a sense that it's a set of ordinances that we have to do, or it's just cult. It could be cult-like, like a cult. And it's just one of those things that I feel that it's a label, because everything has labels. There's a label for, I guess you can call me a Baptist Christian, and then there's Catholics, and then there's non-denominations, and then outside of church there's other religions, and outside of religions there's all kinds of clubs and interests. Everything's all labeled. Everything's all in some sort of a stereotype, I guess you could say. And I personally feel, and this is just my opinion. If there's any listeners out there that catch me saying anything off guard or anything that's not true with Scripture, you can definitely reach out to me and definitely correct me. So I'm definitely coachable and approachable to be corrected.
That's what I like. Like, I feel like we're on the same part where we are capable of like having the dialogue that you're interested into, finding what's true, reading the Bible, interpreting it, and have that conversation. I feel like you're also inquisitive of like, oh, what do you think that? What do you think this? I think that's a cool part that you do. It's pretty cool.
No, thank you. I appreciate it, Alex, and I know I get the same sentiment from you. And one of these things that while we're here at this church is just to finalize what I was saying before was just that not to see it as a religion per se, or the things that we do, because with Christianity, or at least true followers of Christian, what a Christian means is that we follow Jesus. And we can't do it by any works. Our works are considered as filthy rags. At best are considered as filthy rags, meaning no matter how much work we can do, it's never going to be good enough. And it's not by the works that we do that we can earn salvation. Our salvation is by grace and through faith alone in Jesus Christ. But the part as far as what works we do, that's only inspired by the Holy Spirit and what Jesus calls us to do. Once we ask Jesus to come into our hearts and ask him to be the Lord and our Savior, he basically pulls out our heart, gives us a new heart, gives us new desires that are above the world, desires that are pretty much heavenly, I guess you could say. And we basically get changed, and it's one of those weird things, because I couldn't be talking about this a year ago. I couldn't be doing any of this, but because I came to Christ last year and got baptized on Easter last year, I can. It's cliche, but Jesus has literally changed me. And
no, but that's what it's about. Let me just reflect on what you're saying a little bit. But give me a second.
Go ahead, man.
So I feel like in terms of God is good. Everything that is good, love, justice, truth. Like, we actually talked about it in the Bible study. And that's all. And it actually beat me, because I before I was saying God is love and truth, but then it's also all these other things that I kind of missed. And then it's praise. But what was I gonna say? So we all trying to find it. Like, whether you're Christian or Hindu or Buddhist, we all even if you don't have a religion, I think we all trying to find to be good, have a good life, and bring good to others. We all want that. You know what I mean? And we all try to find it. And then I want to bring back to what we were talking in the car, like I think Thursday, and then you're saying half truths. Like, there's so I was saying how I'm not arbiter of truth. I can't tell what's right, what's not right. So I'm saying I respect the Buddhists. I don't know if they're right. I respect the Hindus. I don't know if they're right. But you were saying about half-truths, and without saying them specifically or anything, I think it's true that a lot of people, we follow things that does not lead leads us to greatness, to God, which is the goodness. You know, it does not lead it to that. And you know, there's the obvious ones, right? So alcohol kind of like helps us out, right? Partying or obvious things like smoking. But I feel like there's the quiet ones, like work. Sometimes for me, sometimes it's work that kind of gives me relief, or like, I don't know, prostitution for some people, or you know, all these different things, right? That you find it, and I think the trick is that it satisfies us. It satisfies us in the moment, but then it leaves us empty afterwards, or it satisfies us for a year, you know, 2 years, but then afterwards we need something else. And then if you follow that path without, you know, always seeking those material things, then it just gets worse. And then when we realize and reflect, this is not good, and we try to quit it, we get closer to goodness, towards God, right? So I think it's with all this talk that we have, or the church has, like, it feels like something weird, like that doesn't make sense. But no, when you go to India or this place, it's a more closer thing. It's about, like, it's a close connection. It's a thing that we all experience, like, you know, the need to connect, the need to be closer to God, the need to help each other, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, like, maybe you have some things to say about half-truths or something like that, or did I say a lot of stuff from there?
You pretty much got, you know, I would say you got, you nailed it down to what we had spoken about. I would say that, you know, as far as truth, yes, everyone's looking for a sense of truth. Everyone has a sense of wanting to do good and all that. And in the Bible, it says that, you know, God created us in His image, and we got to look to who is God. You know, God is, you know, in the Bible, He says that He's a loving God. You know, He's a perfect God. He's a just God. He's a strong God. You know, He is everything that we are simply not. And to put things into perspective, which it's really not into perspective, He's an infinite God who is absolutely good, who is absolutely perfect, and we are basically finite beings who are His creation, and who were made in the image of Him. So when He created us in His image, we take those tendencies to want to have that tendency to be good. But there's also the other side of the spectrum, to where, you know, when Adam and Eve had sinned, and that sin had basically perpetuated itself, you know, down the line, down the genealogy, basically to where we are today. And that sin is basically what caused us to become broken, caused the world to become fallen. And it's not just because of the sin that they committed. There's an influencer as well. You know, the absence of God is, you know, God is good, and God is good, God is light. The absence of light is darkness. So obviously that would be, you know, that'd be the same as, you know, the absence of good. There's going to be badness, and you know, there is badness, and there's a father of badness. There's a father of evilness, and they called him the devil and Satan. So, you know, Adam and Eve had fallen because they chose to sin, but not just because they chose to sin. They were influenced to sin. Back when the snake was talking to them in the Garden of Eden, in the time of Genesis, when it was written in the book of Genesis. And, you know, so when we look into absolutes, because I believe everyone's searching for just that sense of peace, or that sense of being, or that sense of truth, and then they're trying to find that fulfillment, that true fulfillment, in all kinds of things. And the world teaches us to find fulfillment in, you know, whatever it is, status, like, you know, fame, celebrity, or maybe riches, like being a rich person. And I think that's a lot of the American model, you know what I mean? Like the American, what is it called? The American dream. You know, people look
big
for
houses, a big car, like,
you know, that's materialistic stuff. Not only that, you know, in sports, you know, athletics, you know, and it's not just, it doesn't go to that as well. I mean, people look for it in fellowshipping with other people, because I believe we were made, well, actually, no, God does say that it's not good for man to be alone, and that's why He created Eve for Adam. And then from there, they went ahead and had the family. So we're meant to be sociable people. We're meant to be interdependent upon each other. So you could even turn little meetings or gatherings into stuff that's trying to fulfill you at your core. But really, at the end of the day, the only thing that can truly fulfill us is what's in the spiritual. And what's in the spiritual is what only God can provide. And I would say, most importantly, and what Jesus says, that he simply is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one could go to the Father except through Him, which would mean that with the Buddhists, the Hinduists, I mean, I don't know, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, they all have their own sets and doctrines and whatnot.
Yeah.
But Jesus is the only one that claimed to be, the great I am, where he says basically when the Jews were coming to him, that he said, where he was about to get stoned, that he goes, before Abraham, I am. And that basically points back to the Old Testament where when Moses was at the burning bush and he was asking for God's name, God scolded him and told him, I am who I am. So when Jesus was telling the Jews, before Abraham, I am, he's basically saying that he was the God of the Old Testament. And that's where it was considered blasphemy. They were about to stone him and he had to leave. So that's what sets Jesus apart, and I believe Christianity apart from all the other religions and per se. And all the other religions, I'm not going to say like some of the doctrines that they teach, they may have some truths in it. I believe they absolutely do, but at what percentage of truth do they have? See, that's where we can fall into a trap, because we have to now sift through what's true and what's not. I mean, it's already bad as it is that we have fake news, and we have to have fact checkers, and people go to Snopes, or people have to even in our STEM field, we have to have peer reviewed research, so everything has to be, I guess, fact checked. But when it comes to God and Jesus, he says he's the way, the truth, and the life. I mean, he's the only one that lived the perfect life. He's the only one that was able to live that perfect life and to give himself off as a sin offering, to basically take all our sins upon him, take it on the cross, die for our sins, and he made the ultimate sacrifice to give us new life. And as it says in John 3:16, the very a famous verse, that whoever believes that God sent his one and only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall have eternal and lasting life. And it's one of those things that, if you want the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God, then definitely go and look into Jesus. And I'm not going to say like, I think nowadays, because people are like, well, Jesus probably isn't real, and my truth is my truth, and this truth is that truth, and I think a lot of it now, to be honest.
Oh, wait! That's my professor, Dr. Tutupali.
Hey,
look at that! I don't know if I should yell or just wait Monday and talk to him. Okay.
That's totally your call, man. Hey, you can bring him in right here on the podcast.
No, because he asks you stuff. Like, I'll ask him some other time. Maybe we could do another one next Sunday.
Yeah, whenever I'm,
something like that.
I'm definitely open to more of this. This is really fun.
Yeah.
So essentially, I would say that, like, sometimes the truth hurts because we ultimately like to live in our sin.
Okay.
And sometimes we don't like to be accountable. I know when I was growing up, I don't want to be accountable to a lot of the things that my parents was telling me not to do. But and people may feel that coming to God or coming to know Him, we're gonna have to give up a lot of the things that we used to like. But it's they feel like we're gonna be tied down to something, that we're gonna be limited. But in all honesty, it's actually the opposite. It's actually freeing. It's actually liberating, because when you come to know the truth and you get the taste of the truth, man, you just want more of it, because that is just something that hits you right down to the soul. And the only way to get to the truth is to get to the Word. And the Word is basically what Jesus has went ahead and said to us, and we find the Word, His Word, and what He said to us, based on the Bible. And the Bible is comprised of the 66 books. At least with the Christian denomination, I think it's like 73. I think with Catholics, or but I would say that, go back to the source. If you want to have truth, there is a higher being. I know a lot of people may disregard that, but like I said, a lot of the people that are not believing nowadays, it actually talks about in the Bible over 2,000 years ago. They said that the hearts are going to grow colder, and where good's going to become bad and bad's going to become good, and there's going to be wars and rumors of wars, pestilences, famines, earthquakes, and we're seeing more and more of that right now. And it's like, wow, how did this come about? Like, how did the Bible predict all those things? And it's because it's God. Ultimately it's God, and I would say, like, go to God. What Pastor was saying here is that, we all have a story to tell, and when we invite God to our lives, He's gonna just turn you around. He's gonna go ahead and build you back up, and He's gonna go ahead and and make you into the individual that who you were meant to be, who you're created to be, because he created you. He created all of us. And he wants to have that personal, intimate relationship. He knows you more than you know yourself. He loves you more than you love yourself, or we love ourselves, and we all love ourselves. We're all very selfish. But he loves us even more than that. And he doesn't want anyone to go to hell, because there is going to be a judgment. This whole world is fallen, right? So Jesus died for our sins. He defeated death. So that means now all we have to do is believe in Jesus and what he says, accept him as a Lord, and then live after him. Go after his will that he created us to be, because none of us are here by mistake. And we all have a certain purpose. We all have a certain plan to go ahead and live for him. And, you know, at that point, you know, once we start living for him, then everything comes into perspective. Everything comes into clarity. And, you know, I would just say, oh, the little baby just fell. Oh, he's all right. He's all right. But, you know, just, you know, once we align ourselves with God, things become into perspective in the sense of how true things are. And when you read the word, it's just, it comes alive to you. In the Bible, it says the word of the word is basically like a double-edged sword. It cuts. It's the sharpest thing that we've ever known, because it cuts all the way down to the soul and the spirit. And right now, this whole world is living without a soul and a spirit, and they're trying to find it in other things, and things that are temporary, and things that are they do seem fulfilling. Like at the moment, like you know, you go and you get a new. Let's say you get a new phone, like this new phone you have, and you know you like it for a bit, and then after a while it becomes old school.
Let me tell you, like. I'm hungry, you know, like, I've been doing...
Too.
Well, I'm hungry, but we still have 45 more minutes, bro. It's an hour 15. But, I'm hungry, like, I'm doing my homework, and then just, I still 15% more to do, right? I'm hungry, and then I go to the machine, and I eat the chips, and then it fills me for a moment, and then 30 minutes later, I feel like crap. Like, oh my God, why I did that? Because I'm trying to eat healthy, and then it just makes me feel worse. And then I think that's kind of like what we do, you know. Maybe we're hungry, we're looking for it in the wrong place, and then it feels good in the moment, and then afterwards it starts feeling like crap.
That's absolutely amazing. Let me add to that. And actually, while it's drizzling, we should probably move underneath the...
Let's walk over there. Yeah, that's good. But
so just to add on to that, sure. So like with food, you know, people say they eat fast food and they get like, they like it, and then it satisfies you temporarily, and then afterwards you feel kind of, I'm not sure, like some of y'all feel like that you don't feel good anymore, or you feel like, you feel bloated, or you feel gassy, like because the food was, you know, it's fast food. Obviously, it doesn't have the quality. It's just quantity, I guess you could say. But just to add to that, like, think of it like this. You know, what the world may give us, it's basically like junk food. It's appealing to the eye in a nice wrapper. It's very sweet. I mean, sugary, and just like, it's so good. And then you eat it, and it's like,
Frappuccino.
A Snickers, a Twix, a cake. I mean, and then
you're not making it better.
And then you're eating it, right? You're eating it, and you're eating it, and then you're like, you keep eating it, and then after a while you get like a sugar shock. And then as good as it came, and as fast as the sugar rush came, as easy as it goes down, because after that you just you don't like it. You don't like it. You come down off the sugar high, and it's just And then with the
same thing with
And a lot of people, you know, they may not like the word because they see it as like maybe a vegetable or a fruit, and a lot of people don't like vegetables. It is.
It is a vegetable.
But people don't like vegetables. They naturally it's hard to have vegetables. But think of it like this. Good after a while, But think of the Bible. Think of God's truth as like a vegetable and a fruit that's not that a lot of people know that it's good for them, but they're like, no, I don't.
And the thing, you know, like I used to be chubby, and then I had a growth spurt. But what I noticed is that when I was chubby, like eating candy. Like, I could eat a lot, and then I could have more and more and more. And then once I became healthier, like, I had my growth spurt, I noticed that I could eat a candy, but it would fulfill me faster. And then I also noticed that when I started eating vegetables, first they sucked, and then they became normal. So after you eat vegetables after a while, like, it's easier. Now, it's still hard, right, sometimes. But after you eat vegetables, like, your body accustoms to it, and then it starts disliking, like, Cokes and that kind of stuff. So I think it's similar in that way in terms of doing the right thing, or like being closer to God. You know, if you're eating fast food and then that's what you do, like, you know, you're sick, but you're addicted to it, right? And it's easy. But then once you start eating vegetables, it takes a time, it takes a little while to fix that. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, it's true. I would say that, like, I would definitely agree with that. And, the one thing that we cannot get away is, as much as we don't like our vegetables or even to eat fruits, just know that the God's truth, God's love, it's the best vegetable, the best fruit that you can ever get. And it's something that, like, once you eat it and you taste it, it's like, wow. Yeah. It's not going to be as crazy, sugary, savory like that.
It's long lasting.
It's long lasting, and it doesn't.
It
satisfies you. It fulfills you. Yeah. And it's good for you because it's healthy.
It is. Yeah.
It's not like
you
a
live
junk
longer
food.
too.
Yeah, you live longer because you eat junk food every day. Yeah. You're gonna start feeling like junk.
Yeah. And then I think you said it prior about, I guess, finding God, but he was also like this guy Dave from the Bible study. He was saying how he turned to Jesus. He accepted Jesus when he was 29 years old, and then he said that he let go a lot of bad things, but he said that Jesus carved out the rest, and then there was sometimes he was hard. I think I thought that was so interesting that you accept Jesus, and then it's hard, that the taking out of the stuff, it's part of it too, like cleansing.
It is. It is, and it's true. Like when I came to God last year, I am actually 29 years old.
We what?
Yeah.
We what?
Yeah, I'm 29.
You look like 20.
No, thanks, man.
20,
I appreciate
29,
it.
okay.
I guess that's good genetics. That.
Yeah.
No, but I'm 29 years old, and I came to Christ last year when I was 28, and I had lived my life. I finally lived my life in the terms of the pride of life. Lived it the way I thought it was.
Until next week, take care. Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be, I was trying to find fulfillment and find truth in what I was trying to do. Yeah. But I finally realized, like, man, I was just, running and trying to mask it. And, I came to God last year and, 180 and he's starting a work. It's not going to be something that's overnight. Yeah. But, once you give your life over to him, it's just boom. It's, I don't know, it's crazy. It's one of those crazy things, and he does actively listen to us. He does help us in times of need. Yeah. And he's not just some God in the sky that you hope and cross your fingers, hope to die. That he hopes you read your letter of a prayer. No, he actually listens, and then he'll work in your life. The closer you draw to him, the closer he draws to you. And it's one of those things that I can say it's I wish I would have done this 20 years ago, but hey, that's life. No, it's life. No, it's true. I mean, it's because I've already, I have a bit of a story and the way I have, come here, and it's just, it's one of those things that, like, from what I used to know and how things used to be, and to now the way I see them, and I'm like, okay, well, Jesus is definitely the truth, and he's changing me. Like I said, like I've told you before, I wouldn't be talking to you like this a year ago. Yeah. Definitely not like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, 6 years, or maybe even 10 years ago. I was a totally different person. And so I just want to say that once he gets into your life and he starts a good work, that work will definitely finish as long as we abide and obey in him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I thought there's something very interesting was like in here, everybody was walking, and it just feels nice. Like everybody talks to each other, everybody's having a conversation. You see the little kids, you see adults, you have old people. Everybody's here, and it's crazy. Calvary Baptist Church.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy here. Like they have everything. So they have the church. Then they have this building which is for Bible study, right?
Yes,
this building, and then next to it is for children. So they got everything.
Yeah, they have a basketball gym. They have a little playground.
What?
Yeah,
it's like this is like a school. Is this gonna become a school or something?
I don't know. They're even thinking about building another building, like
what
for like the youth, youth, like.
But man, like
young adults,
like there's see, I have bad with words, but I'm bad with words. but the bushes are super. They have flowers in them. It's really pretty. People are very nice. People have communion. It's like, dude, this is so. The impression sometimes that I get from other places, or a lot of places, is people are disconnected. They don't talk to each other. Like, they're distant. Like, you have your house, they have their house. You don't talk to your neighbors. But here is so different.
Yeah. No. That's actually a great thing, and that's a great thing that you saw, because usually the bigger the church gets, the more disconnected it becomes, is what they say. So they always say you always want to try to keep your church small, but it's a great thing. That's actually a blessing that you're actually able to see that, because usually with big churches, that's great that you like. I think it's a beautiful church as well, and but there's definitely a lot of big, beautiful churches out there that have bigger things and more things that Calvary has, but they're also very disconnected, and sometimes we got to be careful with that, because people try to go to things that look good too, and feel good churches where it says in the Bible that people will like at the end of the days that there's not going to be sound doctrine, and there's going to be false prophets just tickling our ears, or tickling people who want to hear what they want to hear because they want to be a certain way, and they want to hear preachers preach to them, to their needs. Sometimes when the truth comes at you, it's not something that's good in the sense of the way it makes you feel, because it kind of puts you in check. So I would say, don't look at churches for the way the building looks or how many people are there. Just look to see if God's there, if the Holy Spirit's there. You know what I mean? Because people do get caught up in the image, and it's something. Again, the church, going back to church, is not a building. It's who we are. We're all, once we accept Christ, we're all part of the body of the church. And we have a certain part to play, and that's what I have to say about that.
So part of conversation is like have awkward moments and silences. All of it is valid, man. Everything is valid in this thing.
Yeah, no, this is raw, man. This is
raw.
This is real.
That's why I want to keep it. It's a conversation, and we're trying to relate. But what was gonna say? I wanted to reflect on. Are you happy to share about what happened on Monday, or do you rather not talk about that?
Anything, man. I'm open to anything.
So
genuine and sincere.
So I was. You were something that you shared with us was. What was it? You were being contacting a lot of people, and they weren't able to make it. I think you were doing so. Like Monday or Tuesday at the library, and people weren't showing up. Now, there's a couple of things we could talk about that, but I think it's also the challenge that we all find in our lives. So for today's sermon, he was saying the challenge for the well. They told us the final story, right? 150,000 people going, feeding multiple communities. They're looking for another one.
The animals, and they're getting paid because of the military. That was beautiful,
right? But what they didn't, or they just touch a little bit, is all the challenges that came through it. Like, there were a lot, and then it's also this, and it's the story that we all experience is the challenges. But I was just bringing it up that you're not things hit you, and it's hitting all of us, but that it's you're kind of going through that. It affected you a little bit, but not that much. I don't know if you want to make a point, but you made this event, and you asked for 8 people to go, and they weren't able to show. So it's something you're going through right now, I guess, right?
Yeah. So we all have
trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we all have trials and tribulations, but at the end of the day, look at Jesus. Jesus, he went through his ministry in 3 years, and he got crucified, and the world hated him. The Pharisees hated him. He got crucified, and I'm not gonna say rightly so, but it was part of God's plan to redeem us. Believe me, if there would have been another way, God would have probably done it a different way if there was, but that had to be done. He had to be crucified, but he does tell us that if the world hated me, it will hate you, so we have to bear up our crosses. So there are always going to be some sort of trials and tribulations, and you know what? I do like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And you know what? Everyone's going through a certain something. So basically what happened on Monday was that, every Monday, I went back to school, I guess, just to go a little bit back. After 3 years of not being in school, I decided to come back, and I, obviously with a new focus on God, and on Mondays I have some, I only have like an SI session, which basically is supplemental instruction to where we get extra help. So right after that, during the recess period between 12 and 1, or 12:30 to 1:30, I go out and I talk to people about God, which they call it's called evangelizing. And I got kind of pulled into that by meeting someone at school. His name's Gio, and he got me into talking to people about God, and I had never done that, and it was a great thing. It's an awesome thing. It's what actually Christianity is about, to go and to share the good news. And along the way, we've been meeting with people, and we've been saving some contacts. There was let's see, there's 2 girls that we had met one time that we started a little WhatsApp messaging, and we kind of followed up with them through there. And then we met with 4 people. One of them an atheist.
Oh, really?
One of them an atheist.
That's interesting.
One of them saying, I know. You said
I'm wondering, like, how did you convince him? Or you said
well, he's hungry for truth. He's not one of those militant atheists because see, in the Bible it does.
Are you talking about me or no?
Well, you did tell me when we met that you were atheist.
But am I? Are you the?
No. This is Mondays.
Yeah.
Or no, the people that were supposed to come on Monday.
Yeah.
No, I didn't invite you to Monday because I hadn't seen you.
Yeah.
But
it's another.
Yeah, it's another atheist. No. Yeah. But no, he's there's different types of atheists. Some of them are genuinely looking for truth, and obviously something's happened to where they don't, they don't, want to believe God.
Yeah.
And he seems like he's genuinely looking for truth.
Right.
He's just very skeptical.
Yeah.
And
I'm kind of similar.
and we didn't go about it in a debate. We went about it in love.
Yeah.
And I shared my personal testimony, and I think
it's about that.
God is using our personal testimonies and what He's doing in us to bring others closer to Him. And we met with him, and then a Christian said a couple of Christians. Well, it was the atheist, a Christian who doesn't read his Bible, another Christian. She seemed like she knew what was up. She seemed pretty. She seemed pretty aware. Yeah. And then there was another person that was just interested in aliens. Yeah. And we're talking about aliens. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. But we talked about it. I'm like, he asked me about aliens and politics, and they were just starving for truth. And see, when you're without God, you're without that fulfillment. So, they were naturally inclined to want to talk. And they were so adamant. They were like, we should talk again. We should meet up again. Here, get my number. And, it was so cool. And I was like, great, awesome. So we got those 4 down. And then another friend of mine who's with his love interest. And he's someone that recommitted to Christ not too long ago. His name's Zach. I hope he doesn't get upset that I shared his name, but
and there's no cutting.
Oh well, it kind of went through. This is real.
There's a lot of Sacks. Yeah.
What?
There's a lot of them.
Wait, what? Sacks?
Wait, what did you say? Jack? Sack?
Zach.
What did I say?
You said sex or something like that.
That's what I say. Sacks.
Zach. Yeah. Okay.
Sack. Oh, I say Sacks. Yeah.
It's all good, man.
Sack.
It's all good.
No, it's not Sacks. Is Zach.
Yeah,
there's no S at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but there is a lot of Zachs per se. Yeah. So. No, but we're all supposed to get up. So I invited them to a Bible study. Yeah. 8 of us, or eight people that we had talked to, and that I've been sharing the gospel with. Yeah. And got a room reserved from the library for an hour. Yeah. And I had my buddy Gio come, like, hey man, we're gonna do this Bible study. These people are hungry for truth. Yeah. Obviously, like, we gotta go. Let's move fast. Yeah. And so we did, and then no one showed up. Things came up. Yeah. And it's just, that's
what happened to me a couple of times too. Like, but it's just a thing you experience. Like I said before, like in the research lab, like sometimes I ask them, hey, do you guys wanna? I'm gonna be doing this. It's like, if you guys wanna come, and then they don't come. I tell them, it's like, hey, are you guys free this time? And then at the end, day before, like I tell them a week before, and then 2 days before, a day before, I have like my sisters, my brothers, my tests, my homework, and I'm like, okay. But or I'm just there. It's like, oh, my car, just a lot of. So that's in research, right? That happens sometimes.
Yeah, it happens here. I couldn't get a group to get together for a paper, you know?
Yeah, you were saying, that's a good, just like I said, short point. But to another thing that happened, I was running for vice president, and then I guess I'm just sounding more like the stuff that happens to us, I guess. I was going for vice president for an organization, and in the end, I was going to be by myself, then somebody else run as well. Okay, I'm not going to be more specific, but yeah, there's a little bit things, but and then I didn't get the position, so I was like, oh, that sucks. And then, but I was able to get another position. What was it? It's some. It's about events. No.
Were you the public relations
officer? Program director.
Oh, okay.
I became the program director, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, there's difficulties, but the way I interpret it, right, is like, we all have this community, and we all make mistakes, and it's just things that happen through life. And as long as you feel whatever you feel, and then you turn around and then look. Actually, to us to the lesson, you look into God. So, what was it? Philippines? I forgot.
Philippians 4:20.
20.
It was Philippians 4, and it was verse. We're doing 4 through.
Yeah.
I think 4 through 9. Yeah.
But it was this section. Okay, but it was the title. 4 through 9. Meditate on these things, or
meditate on these things, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just. That was
no, it was
be anxious over nothing.
No, it was about put your attention in these things, and then it was honesty. It was
let your gentleness be known to men. Lord is at hand. Things that you learned, received, and heard and saw in me, and do these things, and God of peace will be with you.
Oh my God!
What was it? Well, maybe I can find it.
But yeah, he was saying, put your thoughts into these things, and it's like love, justice, true.
Oh yeah. So he goes. What you're talking about at this, he goes. So finally, brethren, this is Philippians 4 verse 8.
Yeah.
All the way down and right before 9. Or verse 8.
Yeah.
Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report. If there's any virtue and if there's anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. Yeah. Obviously, my version is a little bit different.
Yeah, it was a turnaround, right? Like, because mine is like the common language. That's why.
So yours is a common language. So yours would say, essentially, from now on, brothers and sisters, if anything is excellent, if anything is admirable, focus your thoughts on these things. All that is true, all that is holy, all that is just, all that is pure, all that is lovely, and all that is worthy of praise. Practice these things, whatever you learned, received, heard, or saw in us. The God of peace be with you.
I think even if you're not a Christian or whatever, if you pay attention in those things, like you still. Oh, and today's lessons too, like. Could you get it too? It was Mark's. Can you pull that one? But so that's the thing. I think if you pay attention on because the person that ran against me, she cares about me and I care about her, and she's honest and she has her reasons. So I think that's the kind of world that you want to live in, like where you can trust each other and believe in each other. And it's okay if that person, told me one thing and then another thing happened. It's okay. Like she explained it. There's reasons. But in the same way, like it's just there's reasons, right? And then I don't think to focus. That's one of the lessons I think we can take. But the today's sermon, I guess. What was it?
That was Mark 9.
He was saying about.
9, I think it was like 30 something. 30. It was about peace. Was it 38?
Oh, he was talking to like people doing his work, right? Like how Jesus was saving people through him. Jesus, some other people were saving others through his name, and then he was like, "Oh, let them be."
Let's see if it's on here.
Okay.
Today, 9:38 through 50.
Okay. 9:38. 38.
Do not.
Oh, okay. Do you want to read it?
So it says in 30 or 38. So we'll do it. We'll do common. We'll do the common English one.
Yeah.
So
let's go.
Okay, so it says recognize your allies. So John said to Jesus, "Teacher, we saw someone throwing demons out in your name, and we tried to stop him because he wasn't following us."
Yeah.
Jesus replied, "Don't stop him. No one who does powerful acts in my name can quickly turn around and curse me. Whoever isn't against us is for us. I assure you that whoever gives you a cup of water to drink because you belong to Christ will certainly be rewarded. As for whoever causes these little ones who believe in me to trip and fall into sin, it would be better for them to have a huge stone hung around their necks and be thrown into the lake. If your hand causes you to fall into sin, chop it off. It's better for you to enter into life crippled than to go away with two hands into the fire of hell, which can't be put out. If your foot causes you to fall into sin, chop it off. It's better for you to enter life lame than to be thrown into hell with 2 feet. If your eye causes you to fall into sin, tear it out.
Oh my God.
It's better for you to enter God's kingdom with 1 eye than to be thrown into hell with 2. There's a place where worms don't die and the fire never goes out. Everyone will be salted with fire. Salt is good, but if salt loses its saltiness, how will it become salty again? Maintain salt among yourselves and keep peace with each other. So that was the sermon for today.
Okay. Yeah,
because we only went over like the first line, and then we went into like how he's talking about Moses and the trenches, and we never got back to finishing the rest of the sermon.
Well, do you think? Because I don't know how to interpret the rest of it.
Okay, so what part?
Because no one who's this powerful acts. Because the focus of today's sermon was how. Well, actually, I want to know the rest part before I look dumb. As for whoever causes.
So basically, what's happening here? This is Jesus talking.
Yeah. Okay.
So Jesus is talking. So I guess at the beginning he says that he goes, "Teacher, we saw someone throwing demons out in your name." So at that point, they were kind of being jealous of Jesus and his work. Like, hey, who's this guy, like, saying Jesus and throwing him out in your name? So they went and tattletold to Jesus. And Jesus was like, well, like don't stop him. He goes, no one can do these acts, in my name. So whoever is for us is not against us. So he allowed them to do those things because they weren't against them. They were doing good things, things that Jesus himself calls us to do. And then as far as for the little ones who believe in God, like, so he's talking about the children. If anyone causes children to fall and stumble, Jesus says you need to tie a rope and tie that rope to a huge stone and put it around this person's neck, and then throw them off and put them into the water, because you're basically causing the children to sin. And children are they're children, the little ones, they're very impressionable, so we have to be taking care of them. We can't be causing them to sin. And then he goes on to further expand, like, if certain things are causing you to sin, if your hand is causing you to steal, chop it off. He's not saying literally, because there's people that have gone out and literally chopped off their hand. Or if your eye is causing you to look at people like in a sexual way, like to lust after women, then pluck it out. That's what he's saying. People. Some people say that he's not being serious. Some people have taken it serious. Some people say with your foot, like if your foot's causing you to cheat. That's what you have to do. But he wants us. He's saying this in a way so that if there's something causing you to sin, then you got to remove yourself from that sin. And we can't do it on our own. Right now, a lot of gurus, there's like a lot of self-help people.
I think it's something I still need to understand that part. But the other parts that do make sense. One is for, I guess, children or those who don't know, like how they are badly guided by evil people, by people that leads us to sin. And I feel like that's very important. Like when I see children, or when you see children and the things that sometimes
like what we saw today, what they were doing, like the kids were singing. That's good. That's holy in God's eyes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But as opposed to, you go on YouTube, you see children doing, like, parents telling them to do bad things.
Well, it's just like, I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm talking, like, I see, like, classmates, or like they tell me about their past, and I know, like when you meet, I like to talk to people, I guess, and then things like that happen, like people are not. I'm not talking about rape, I guess, or like
it's anything that causes them to sin.
But I'm just saying, like, they just lead them to bad paths, and like, I just feel like this is terrible, and I think it's a concern that goes into there too. But also, okay, I'm gonna tackle you because, like I told you, I guess from my perspective, you know, I'm an atheist, or I'm sort of like I feel like a lot of what the Bible and we line up. So I feel like, I don't know, atheist. But what I'm saying is that the passage, I'm like, I was gonna, like, I feel like it was talking to what our conversation was, that, you know, sometimes about the healing, don't stop in the one who does powerful acts in my name can quickly turn around and curse me. So I feel like, you know, as long as, well, I feel like as long as you do good, I think that goes, and you're not against Jesus, which is love and goodness, then you're with him. And that's the way I feel like. Okay, so don't, like,
no, I'm not. Go ahead, bro. Like,
sometimes I feel like
this is part of life. Like,
this is what I feel sometimes. Like,
real.
Certain Christians or certain, like, you're a sinner, and then they have that anger, and then but for what it says there, right? Mark's 9:39. It's like, if you're not against Jesus, which is like, or against goodness, like, then you're for him. And that's the way it is. Like, even, again, if you're Hindu, if you're Buddhist, or all this, if you're not against God, then I think that they're for it. You know, because some religions, it's sort of like, no, you gotta, they're dirty, you gotta kill them. Or if they don't turn, they're... So
you're saying, like, as long as they're not... Because, you know, like, the Hindus, they consider Jesus as one of their gods, or like... You know, like, what else? Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't believe that he's God per se, but they believe he's Michael the Archangel. Or Mormons, they believe he's a brother of Satan, and you know, he's a son of God, but he's not. He's not God himself. So as long as they're preaching the message, and they have Jesus in there. Same thing with the Muslims too. They know him as Isa. You know, that's his name, Isa, Isa. And
that's
so the Muslims call him, but they don't believe that he was crucified. But they say he was a good prophet. But that was a lie that he got crucified. But they do preach, he's a great prophet, he's a good prophet. But all these religions, they talk about God, or they talk about Jesus, they acknowledge him, and they're maybe doing it as good as they say. But to be honest, they're actually teaching something that's false, because God says there's no other way except through me. So it's funny that these religions, and that's where you get to these half-truths, where they give you a little bit of something, they give you some truth, they acknowledge Jesus, but they deny who he said he was, which he says, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. You know, so that's the thing. That's one of those things. So no, I mean, what Jesus is talking about here, where he goes, don't stop him, no one who does powerful acts in my name can quickly turn around. When they do it in his name, that means that they're doing it in his name, meaning that guy was a Christian who was doing it. So meaning, like, let's talk like other denominations, you know. I'm a Baptist, and then there's Methodists, there's Presbyterians, there's Lutherans, there's Methodists. You know, we're all, you know, there's more, you know, like Pentecostals, and we're pretty much all in the same boat together, you know, because of the Reformation that had happened back when, you know, Martin Luther had done his thing. But we're all in the same boat, and we all believe the essentials. We all believe in Jesus as our God, as part of the Trinity. So when we do these things in his name, we are still acting as part of the body. Now, which one of us has it right? I honestly believe none of us have it down right to the way God wants it. No way. But is God working in all these other denominations? Yes. And honestly, there's also with Catholics as well. We don't believe there's a big divide between because all those denominations I told you, we all fall under Protestants, and then you get the Catholics, and you know, they're still doing their things based on it's kind of like a works-based thing. But we have a big disagreement. But I'm not going to say that there's not any Catholics that are not saved. I do genuinely believe that there are Catholics that are saved, that believe in Jesus, and you know, there are Catholics that are saved. So it's really coming down to the heart issue. Where's your heart at? Is it really with Jesus? Are you searching for him? Are you allowing him to direct you and to dictate your path, are you allowing him to put you in a place where he knows that you should be, because he created you for a purpose, for a talent. You know, you're great at math, you're good at stuff like that. Me, I'm not great at math. You know, I'm but I have my certain skills. You know, so he created us for our certain purposes, and you can use those purposes to glorify him. But we gotta align ourselves with him so he can steer us in those paths. You know?
For sure.
So as far as that goes, man, it comes down to the truth. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people, I honestly believe that a lot of people don't come to the truth because they still love to live in their sin. I didn't come to God. Personally, me, I can say that because personally, me, I didn't come to God because I still wanted to live in my sin. I still wanted to, you know, sleep with women. I still wanted to do the drugs that I wanted to do. I still wanted to have that pride of life and say, no, I'm a man. I can do this. I got this down on lock, you know. And then I thought about it like, you know what? The best that I can do is if I do succeed in whatever I'm doing, the best I can be is, you know, another Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, or you know what I mean, like you know, people that are way up there. But if you notice, those people, they have all these things, and yet they still don't feel satisfied. They still have to do more and more and more. And I'm not saying doing more and more and more is a bad thing, but in what context are you doing it in? For who are you doing it in? For what purpose? You know, because if you're not doing it for the true purpose, then you're never going to be fulfilled. Yeah. And there's people that have gone up to the top, celebrities, athletes, rich people, that they get up there and they know that they're never satisfied, they're never fulfilled. And it's like, man, I obtained the whole world. Yeah. But then the Bible says you lose your whole soul in the process. And when the people that are genuinely searching for truth, when they get to the top of whatever they're accomplishing, they realize how empty it is.
Well, it is always empty to try to build your own tower. So one of the sermons that I heard, it was the Tower of Babel. Is that the?
Yeah. People are building their own towers.
Yeah, because and then when I had that, I was like, oh, that's true. Like I was building myself, like, and then I think if you ignore it, like you don't listen and you don't reflect, I think we're all dumb. Like I feel like if we don't constantly try to seek the light every time, like we go into the darkness. Yeah. And so one of the errors I guess I was committing was the ego of bullying the self. Like because I want to be successful, I want to build the business, but
who doesn't want to be successful,
right? Right. But it got like when he said, I was like, oh, so all these different things that I'm doing is to build myself. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And then it restarts every time, right? So I think that's the part of like, you know, like trying to find, like constantly going into, like I guess as a symbol, like the Bible, going back to, you know, what's right, reflecting on it. And what I like about this is, I think the church it can be summarized in 3 words: community, and community. I think, and that's what I love. Like, and that's what I also want to build. Of like a community, because the church has a really good community, but outside of it, I feel like it is lacking. And so that's kind of like why I wanted to talk to you. It's not because there are disagreements. I say like I cannot judge, and then I can see that everybody has truth. And then you say, well, some of them have half truths. But I say, no truth to half truth is good, and a full truth is better, right? Yes. So I feel like this church and a lot of churches have truth, and then I feel like if people can come, and then it's not, well, I didn't think it was boring. I think it was really fun, and then at least, you know, and some churches are boring, so it's up to you, right? Like to go, but I'm saying like you just try it out, you know, come, because I think you'll see the things that I saw, which is like people are talking to each other and they're having a good time. They sing and they sing well. they share their stories and they're helping people, and it's a good reflection towards the Bible, and it's all very good stuff. And then they got good people. They got you. But other people from the Bible City, I feel like they were good people too.
Yes, they're very good people.
But yeah, I feel like I was trying to make a point, but I guess I finished with that point. But what was it? I liked what we were talking in the Bible study. So there was one lady, you know. I don't know if I can share. Do you think I could share about what she was going through?
Like, that's fine. Just I guess for the sake
just
of
not the name.
Not for the sake of name.
But yeah, like one of her daughters tried to commit suicide, and thankfully she didn't die, and she's there. But I think and the way she saw it is that you know, God like helped her through all of this, and then she was able to. She had work to do, even like she had to continue to work, and then turning that project that was due on Wednesday for Austin. I don't know what it was. Maybe she's a teacher. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I think that's what it is about. It's about when we're struggling, finding that companionship and that thing that helps us through, and that's what it is. And again, there's a lot of there's half-truths, right? And I'd be happy if you go for a half-truth, but there's some people that there's like empty truths, like again, like alcohol, like parties, like bad influences, and you know, and I see it a lot, like yes, well, I don't want to, never mind.
No, say it.
I was in that event, and okay, so I went to Comic-Con, and a lot of people
the most recent one?
Yeah, and it was really cool. But I forgot, like I feel like a lot of people are kind of awkward.
No, we're all awkward.
You think so?
Yeah, everyone is.
I feel like it draws like that type of person, and I'm awkward and I'm weird too.
Yeah, we're all weird.
Right.
Every single one of us is weird.
But here's the point. But I feel like, okay, there's a portion that because they didn't have anybody or something, comic books, it was a sort of relief, and then they has helped them. And so I think it's good, and I think it's great because
that's what the thing that they're going into. Remember, I was telling you
that helps them. So I think that's like a half truth or something that leads them towards
a community with each other,
and it's great and it's amazing. And I rather be wrong and say, hey, actually you can find fulfillment and truthfulness and unity through comic books. And hey, like if you have, you know, something is better than nothing, right? But I think there's also other steps. I feel like while seeing people, I felt that when seeing into their eyes, I felt like they were still hurt and they were looking to be fulfilled, and that was a little bit of fulfillment. Wow. But there's some people that I see here, and not only in the church, somewhere else, but you see their eyes and they see fulfilled, and they look to fulfill others. Yeah. So in that place, I felt that they were hurt, but they were getting filled. But I saw less people full and looking to feel other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's what we do. We bear with one another. We encourage one another. We motivate one another. And I believe other groups do that as well. But I mean, to what extent of truth are you going to give them? Yeah. You know what I mean?
And so yeah, look, you know, be filled. It's better to be empty, right? But just watch out. There's better options, and then this is a good option. Calvary is a good. Also, I'm gonna promote another church. That was going Vital. I think that was I was going to a Korean church, so I promote this one. I promote everybody. Just go. Dude, just find a community. Just find somebody that you believe in, and just to me, it's questioning like, is this leading me to good? This is leading to bad, and be humble to listen to the wisdom that there is, so that, you know, and like the way you interpret it is that, you know, the Bible is the final truth, and in my interpretation, then the truth will lead to, you know, if you read it and you listen, you'll understand that's what it is. And so that's what I'm saying. Come, visit, and to me, you know, hey, it's not for you, but just check it out, you know, and if it's the truth, you know, it will lead you to it, you know what I mean? It will attract you.
I really don't think.
And they got coffee and fruit and what was it? The little pastries that they gave us.
Pastries, yeah.
And
are you sure you're atheist, dude? I can't see it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is what I said yesterday with another friend.
Yeah.
When I close my eyes, I feel something, and it's like towards the center. What's this thing called? Sternum. This is a little bit above the sternum, but I feel it. It's a thing that when I close I feel something. And then when I look at the start, I feel that same thing, like there. And then, you know, when I see people having communion, I see it in them, I feel it in them. So I feel something. And then I just, like, I'm a skeptic, but I know what I feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why, but, you know, I'm a science person, so then that's why I'm always about, I think that's what it is. Like, we all created religions because we're trying to feel this thing, and like that connects us. But there's the evil, right? And so that's the challenge. And so I think like the thing of labels and labeling, I think the fact of living Christian or something like that, that's a sort of sometimes it's stained like kind of like feminism. It's stained because of the bad feminists.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of like, that's why I don't want to take the term feminist, but I am kind of a feminist. I'm also kind of a Christian, but I don't want to be stained because of like, you know, by those things. And I'm also kind of, well, I feel, because Buddhism is a philosophy, right? So I actually do believe more on Buddhism, and that's kind of like my thing. But it's more of a practice too, because it's just a meditate. Yeah, and I think prayer is a good form, like it's a good form of release, and not only do Christians do it, but other religions do it. It's a thing that it's good. It's good for you. Prayer is good. But I was gonna say, and then I think it was really cool. Dave.
Dave. Yeah,
he was really cool. Like I feel like he's a really good mentor. Like he was mentoring you.
All of them. You missed Ron, and then Tom too. I mean, they're all great. They're all a great bunch.
Yeah, they're really good people.
If it was cold, if it was a cold type of place or not inviting environment, I wouldn't have taken you. I wouldn't even have been there. You know, I wouldn't even have been at the church.
Wait, who took you there or what?
No, I would have never been there. Like, when I came and wanted to get more serious with God, I'm like, I need to get embedded. I need to be more active with God and everything that I do, and reading and praying and going to service, and it's because God is giving, He gave me a new heart, and it's like, all right, God, I'm all in with you. Where are you going to take me? So, met these people. But they're all great people, man.
They were. You were sharing how you had difficulty getting those people on those, and he was listening to you, and he was encouraging you, and they were all giving advice, and I thought I was like, holy cow, like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I think when you came in, you were saying, like, iron sharps iron, and then there were other people, and that's something I believe in too, like, the wise people, the older generation, the elders, that's really good to listen to them. I have beef sometimes, like, I guess part of my ego, but it's also their ego. I feel like everybody has an ego, right? So
everyone does.
You gotta watch out for that. It's not saying 100% the elders know everything or they don't have problems, right? But they're closer towards the truth than sometimes.
Because they live longer.
Yeah,
they have experience.
Exactly.
And then no matter how old you are or how young you are, you notice everyone's still going through their stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just a fact of reality. As long as we're here on this earth, there's gonna be hurt. There's gonna be brokenness. But. We have God, for support, and we have hope in Him.
Yeah.
And He will take care of us. This lifetime's going to go by vapor, man. Most we're going to get is 80 to 100 years, and then after that, it's eternity. Mm-hmm. And it's where do you want to spend eternity with?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so true.
So what do you want to spend eternity with? And it's beautiful, bro. Like, and it's more than just this. There's testimonies of people, and people have crazy testimonies. People have. I mean, it's beautiful, man. I mean, God's a very beautiful God. We don't understand Him. We want to think we understand Him with science, because I'm a science major as well. I'm a chemistry major, minor bio.
You're like my friend. I had Alex. Yeah. He's literally. Oh, never mind. He's chemistry and physics. Yeah, but physics and chemistry.
But I'm realizing now that I just liked it at the surface level. Now that we're getting deep into this stuff, I'm like, okay, I don't know about this, but no, I understand. Like I understand, and the thing is, I believe science and God definitely go hand in hand together. They Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio. You know what I mean? Like, there's design down to the quantum subatomic level. All the way up to. The galactic, macro, the macro. I mean, it's beautiful, dude. It's just there's design. Yeah. Look at how we were designed. Yes, there's beauty in the design, but then also we get into like the intellect, the emotions. Yeah. Arts. You know what I mean? It's not just in science. It's everything just all muddled in together, man. And I honestly believe, evolution. Genes, and as much as I know about epistasis and epigenetics and stuff like that, and gene mutation, I don't think the genes could have expressed themselves this much. I don't believe it. And there's it's all on what you want to. No, it's okay. It's all on what you want to cling on to. There's people who are more advanced, who have more achievements in the STEM field than I have, that go either way. So there's counter arguments, so it's one of those things, but it all starts with you and where you are in your relationship to God, because God does say that He reveals Himself in nature. And you said you're starting to feel something now. Just call upon Him, man. and to anyone that's out there that's still searching and seeking meaning, but they're trying to do it outside of God because they feel like once you come to God, it's like, oh, God's an evil God or God's a mean God, and
it's because also I feel like some people make the God themselves.
Oh yeah,
and that's like, I think that's quite like an often thing.
But you know who that stems from, though, right?
Well, from being
being a God yourself. You know where that comes from?
I don't know where it comes from the devil. I don't know.
Okay. Bingo. Lucifer. He said it in his heart that he wanted to be as God. He wanted to set up his kingdom, his throne above God's, because God is on a holy mountain up in heaven. He wanted to set up his kingdom above that, far reaches of the north. He wanted to be God, man, and that's because he was already perfect in beauty, perfect in wisdom. I believe he was probably in charge of all the angels. He was probably like under, he was, above Michael the archangel, but he decided because of his beauty and his wisdom, he let that pride, that ego sink in, and he's like, I want to be like God. And that's what people nowadays are doing. We're pretty much our own gods. We're all in this whole selfie, me. Look at my Instagram. It's all about the gram. Or friend count with Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, who do you know? You know what I mean? It's all.
That is true.
It's like that, man.
I feel like it's because, again, I'm always coming to the place of like, I can't judge, but I can see like, bro, it's too much. And the thing is that, well, sometimes it's not good. I feel like I don't think you're, because the thing, I feel like a lot of people, there's the good and the evil. Which I believe there is, but I think there's good and evil within us.
Yes.
And then I feel like we're so easy to point out to other people. But it's because the thing is that as you approach to thousands of people that you talk, the more you talk to people, the more you realize we all live in this disillusion that we're good and then we're not bad.
No,
but everybody's saying the same thing.
Everyone
if I interview,
so everyone is a sinner. I'm a sinner myself.
Us. Yeah. We gotta clean ourselves because the reason why we are how we are is because we freaking point at other people.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you gotta clean yourself.
But we can't clean ourselves per se. We can only do so much.
Yeah.
God's the one that cleans us.
Well, exactly. So if you try to find the wisdom within yourself, you'll find some of it. But you have, you be humble to listen to the wiser words, and I say the Bible, right? Or, elders. But the problem, with just listen to yourself or to other people is that you'll disappoint yourself and other people will disappoint you.
Yes.
So you have to have something that is great, that it won't disappoint you. I think that's why church and the Bible, all of that is good, because they won't disappoint you. They will always be there, and in prayer, it will never fail you.
And we still get mad at each other. We still we're still hypocrites in some way. I'm still a hypocrite some way. I still sin it to a certain degree, and I still fall short of God's glory. But everyone does. But it's by the only one that's not going to fail us. The one that's never gonna fail us is God, Jesus Himself, because He's perfect. He's a loving God, and as long as we cling onto Him, as long as we stay cling to Him, what says in the Bible? What can flesh do to us?
Exactly.
What can flesh do to us? So cling on to God. Let Him make our path straight. And honestly, if people, I wasn't gonna say this. Honestly, if people had God more, then there would be less hate. But I mean, then you think back, what happened? Why did the Reformation happen? And they're supposed with the Roman Catholics, why did all that happen? And they're supposedly with God, but no, it's. Where's the heart at? Because God looks at our hearts. He doesn't look on what you're saying, what I'm saying. He doesn't look how we look. He doesn't care about none of that. He cares about what's in our heart. And I would honestly say start with the heart and give your heart to God. And let Him give you that new heart. And then from there, man, it's just it's like love. It's not a worldly type of love, not infatuation, not something that's fleeting, not something that you gotta. It's an eternal type of love, because God is love. I mean, not just because He's love makes Him a hippie, but He's a God. He's a just God.
He's a good hippie.
No, but he's a just God, meaning there's judgment that's gonna come, but the good news is that Jesus Christ, has come to save us, and that whoever believes in Him, man, that's it. Just you believe in Him and you give Him your heart, and then you allow Him to change you, and then you just reciprocate whatever is resonating in you with God. And then you just start doing, and you just start following Him, and then next thing you know, we're in heaven, and we don't have to worry about any hurt, we don't have to worry about any sorrow, we don't have to worry about any confusion. And that confusion, one that I have talked to you about, where the reason why there's a lot of half-truths and a lot of confusion, and people are searching for all these things, and it's because the devil masquerades as an angel of light.
Yeah.
So he imitates the light, which means white, because God is light, and the absence of light is darkness. And well, because sin was found inside Lucifer, who is Satan, you know, he has black in him, but he still masquerades as the angel of light. So when you mix white and black together, what do you get? Gray. And you get a gray area, which means there's like a lot of confusion. There's a lot of things up for interpretation. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things that we have to be careful of, because it's not just us battling our own selves, which we do. There's also an influencer out there seeking, roaring around like a lion, seeking who he may devour. And the only one that can protect us from him is Jesus himself. If we are not with Jesus, how can we be protected with him? We're just easy pickings for the devil. And then we have all these things going on, all these other religions, all these other issues and loss and hurtness, and that's what happens, man. So Jesus is our Savior. He's our guardian. He's our mountain. He's our refuge. He's everything, man. And he's the only one that can provide life. And all he's just saying, hey, come and try me out. But we choose. He gives us that opportunity to choose. And that's why we have all this. What's going on right now?
I was going to say, so we were going towards the end. We already did the hour and 50 minutes. I felt like we could talk more. Like, the more we were talking, we were like 3, 4. Dude,
it was just like the first day we met.
That's true.
We were just like,
but we had to go. We were talking in the library.
I told you last time too.
We walked away.
Dude, we could be talking forever. I told you.
It feels like that. But you know, like, so talking to you, you know, I think a good thing to bring people to, you know, God or the Bible is service. So you know how Tom became the religious or Christian, or what? There was the skateboarding, right?
Yeah, so, I didn't even know that. He just shared that today.
So because of the skateboarding that they had it going on, that's how they got to know it. And then right here, like the people with the well, like the way that they learn about God was through the well. So I think the best way that you can call people, I think, is that you find a service that you could do for them. You know what I mean? So I think it's just like giving you an idea. So what I'm going to try to do is to promote organizations, is do workshops where we teach each other, right? So I think 3D design, like on SolidWorks, is a program. That's one, but I can't do it. I'm asking for a friend to help me out. So we'll see. You know, people say stuff, but the ones that I can do for sure is training videos or training for classes. So so you have this homework. We finished. Let's go over it. And then do you have any questions? And so and then at the end of, or at the beginning of the, hey guys, so we're this organization. If you guys are interested, we have pamphlets here, or this is our link. Okay, let's get started with the lesson. We're done. It's like, hey, so if you guys are interested in this, we have this, just you end it over, and then that's it. I also promote different events. This is what we're going to have this other day. We have this every Thursday or every Monday, every Sunday, but we have, I don't know, churches on Sunday. If you guys want to come, you guys can meet me, and then we can talk and whatever. And then I think that's a good way. And then you reach into that community. It's all good, dude. That's a good, so, like, and you said you have your set of skills, so, like, whatever you feel like you could help other people with. But also, like, I feel like, you know, you could, like, people who are struggling, maybe you can hear them out and that kind of stuff. But that seems more personal, but I guess something to, like, a group activity.
Yeah. We're actually, as you know, in this church, we're out to make disciple makers. So now it's not just showing up at church and just receiving the word and going out. No, we're actually, like, making little small home churches or group churches, like little Bible studies.
Okay.
So I mean, maybe we can probably
a Bible study.
Yeah, it could probably work out something like that. So that's something that me and you can talk more about, man. But I'm definitely all ears, man. Now that I've turned over to God, He's changed me so much that I just want to do anything and everything for Him. I've devoted my life to Him. And you're right, like He's given us a certain skill, and usually any type of skill that we have, it's meant to glorify Him. And, you know, and He can use us in any type of sector of the workforce to glorify Him or to share the news.
For sure.
So, yeah, man, I think what you're doing it sounds pretty great. I want to know more about what you're doing. And
the plans right now, like, but the plans will be made. You know, I come here on time. You know, I do what I say. You know, that's
So, yeah, man.
Yeah, I was also thinking, like, for the organization, like working out, like as a community building, like just like how, so frisbee, basketball, football, something to do for fun. But activities, just like I was just thinking, activities I think are things that get people together and have fun, and then through that, I think those are cool things,
Okay.
Just ideas throwing there.
I definitely agree.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get going. Are you hungry? I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry, man. Let's go get something to eat.
What do you think? Let's. What do you think is a good place to get something?
It depends on what you eat. I eat anything, man.
I am vegetarian, but I'm most of the place. Oh, you know what? Have you gone to Jason Deli's, man? Oh, dude, so good.
Yeah, Jason Deli is really good. Yeah,
it's on 10th Street, and I think.
Don't they have one on 2nd and...
I'm sorry, 2nd Street, yeah.
2nd and Nolana?
Yeah, right? Exactly, yeah.
Right next to Gaddy's? Nearby Gaddy's?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to that one?
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
Oh, yes, man. Okay, so, hey, it was great talking to you. Wait, Eddie Bravo, right?
Yeah, no, Eddie Govea.
Eddie Govea.
Oh, hey, man, now you're throwing curse words.
Oh, sorry.
That's all
hey,
good, man.
Hold on. That's kind of hard to talk, but I try not to. But Eddie Govea, chemistry major, met at the library, and Calvary Baptist Church, right?
Yes.
And then you'll be soon doing maybe Bible studies or some other stuff. But
we're definitely seeing what we can come up with. But things are still in motion. Ideas are still in motion, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll do this.
Yeah.
It's not about if, it's about when, right?
Yeah.
Letters.